J with the Business Umbrella, host of the Let's Talk Business podcast. This season is called All Things Real Estate, where we talk about how you can use real estate as a tool to build generational wealth. So today I have Chris here, and I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. How you doing?
Pretty good. My name is Chris Ford. I'm a real estate investor in the construction industry, and I think it's critically important that we get the message out to the people that real estate is a great investment, and if you use the right investment approach, it can build generational wealth.
Okay, well, sounds like we're gonna have a good conversation, right?
Of
So
course.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been in the construction industry for actually 10 years.
Oh wow, that's a long time.
So I started on the site utility side of things,
Mm-hmm.
and I worked for contractors for about 7 years. And I left and I went and worked for a company. I started the site utility side for them. And, this was a little over 2.5 years ago, and I became a partner in that company.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of used the finances from that to catapult me into the real estate game.
Okay. Okay. So, when you first got into real estate, like, what was that experience for you? Like, did you automatically see it as a lucrative business, or it was just something that you got interested in and you said you want to do more and more of, or like right away it was like, this is where I need to be?
Yeah, I've automatically saw it as a lucrative industry.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you have to understand the aversion to risk for every real estate transaction.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand that there's risk associated with every transaction. So, yeah, I look at it as, hey, I can make a lot of money, but
Yeah.
at the same time, if you have the right you got to have the right investment strategy. If you don't have the right investment strategy, if you don't know your numbers, then you're not going to be successful.
So, did you have a mentor that guided you during this process, or did you like go get a real estate license, or like how did you educate yourself on certain strategies? Was it like try, failure, do something different?
Yeah, I've always been a hands-on kind
Oh,
of
okay.
guy.
Yeah.
So I never fear risk.
Yeah.
So I'm the type of person that's just gonna jump out there and go after what I want, and that's the same thing I did in the real estate game. I figured where I could get the capital from, and once I found that avenue, I found a property that I could flip in near Northside, and then I found a second one that I could flip in near Northside. I got the funds, and then the rest is history. I ran my numbers, knew what the after repair values were on the properties, and I knew what the cost implications were from a remodel standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And once you know what the cost is, and then you know what the revenue is going to be generated on that project, then you know if it's a good investment. So
If the numbers make sense,
if the
they make
numbers make
sense.
sense to me, they make sense. Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you been doing real estate like on your own?
I would say for about 3 years now.
Okay. And during that 3-year journey, have you experienced any failure in doing this?
Yeah. Well, failure. I mean,
It depends on
it
what you mean by that,
depends.
right?
Yeah, I would say that
Challenges? What about that?
there's been some challenges.
Yes, sir.
I would say that on my first real estate transaction, I wanted the property so bad
Yeah.
that I didn't do my due diligence from the outset, and I purchased the property. It was kind of in the auction,
Mm-hmm.
and what happened was I purchased it at auction, and I didn't have enough time to get a survey. So I made an offer. We purchased the property in 3 to 5 days, and then it turns out that the house was on the property line, and I had to buy actually like 2.5 feet from the homeowner next door. I didn't know it. The whole property had a fence around it,
Right.
and I assumed that everything that was encompassed in that fence I owned.
Right.
But actually, the house was on the property line, and there was about 2.5 feet that I didn't own. So I didn't include that in my overall budget. I had to end up spending $7,500 to acquire that land,
Wow.
enable me to sell the property.
So let's talk about that for a little bit because I think that's very important for aspiring entrepreneurs and people that are looking to get into real estate. What was that like from you? Like, what did you walk away from that particular situation learning?
What I learned was, I mean, you have to do your due diligence
Yeah,
ahead of
for
time.
sure.
You have to get surveys. You have to have an option period, because typically it's a 10-day option period in the contract. You pay for that, maybe $100, but that's a due diligence period that allows you to get a survey.
Right,
allows
you that time.
that time that you need to do everything you need. That way, from a cost standpoint, you know what it's going to cost you. Because, if I hadn't known that from the outset, maybe I would have said, hey, I'm not going to purchase this property.
Right.
Or in doing the remodel, I could have had it moved. But once the house is remodeled, I mean, the structure has to be sold. So the rest is history. It is what it is now. I mean, I gotta bite the bullet. I gotta fall on the sword.
Right.
And I gotta get the property sold, because ultimately you're trying to make a profit.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about generational wealth. So, how do you see, coming from your area of expertise, how do you see real estate being able to be used as a tool to build generational wealth?
I see it good, as being a good tool to build a generational wealth, because I mean, these are assets, and we all know that assets appreciate,
right, for sure,
and value. You purchase a home, and that home can appreciate. I mean, it could be worth 50% more than what you purchased it for.
Yeah.
So I think that's critically important in building generational wealth. Getting kids involved.
Yeah.
I've always had an idea of having a STEM program for kids, and not only introducing them to real estate, but different professions.
Yeah.
Because I came from a low income community, but I endeavored to do better.
Yeah.
And if you give the kids in those lower income communities the motivation,
the exposure,
and the exposure, and let them know that, hey, you're more than capable to do what I've done.
Right.
You just have to plan. You just have to have the schooling, and you got to have the
educate
wisdom
yourself
and educate yourself. So
yeah.
I think real estate you can build wealth, but it's knowing your numbers.
Yeah.
It's a numbers game. It's a cost versus revenues game. If you don't you got to surround yourself with like-minded individuals.
Definitely
if you don't surround yourself with like-minded individuals that have the same goals, the same aspirations, you may fail in the real estate game.
Yeah.
So you can build generational wealth, but the investment approach has to work.
Yeah.
I cannot stress enough that you have to know your numbers. That's what's important. And I mean, I know you see these infomercials where they talk about, hey, you can invest in real estate without having any money. I'm here to say that
that's not true.
That's not true. That's not true.
They are not telling us the truth.
Yeah, they're not telling you the truth. Now, maybe you can get in the wholesale game and be able to wholesale some properties.
Do you mind defining that? Just for our viewers who maybe never heard of what wholesaling is.
I mean, wholesaling is basically acquiring a property from an owner and being able to flip that property to another investor or a buyer, and that would help you grow your capital.
Yeah.
I mean, you make $2,000 or $3,000, and
because you put your little fee on top.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I mean, if there's a property that the owner wants $50,000 for, maybe you can get it sold for $60,000 to an investor. So, you make your cut off the top, and then you can invest use that money to invest in the real estate.
Definitely. That's why I really appreciate season 2, because I don't think that a lot of our community know about all the different ways you can get involved in real estate. A lot of people think you have to go and be a realtor or, at least go that route first. But can you talk to us about some of the other avenues in real estate that people could get involved in?
I mean, there's a bunch of different avenues in real estate that you can get involved in. We've already mentioned wholesaling. You've mentioned being a real estate agent. And then also just getting around people who are developing.
Yeah.
You know, there's from the development aspect.
Yeah.
There's the design perspective. You know, Garland from the
Mm-hmm.
architectural side of
Yeah.
things. I mean, there's a lot of different avenues. I mean, remodels, flips. There's a lot to do
Yeah.
in real estate. I mean, I can go on and
You know,
on.
yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't
Oh
mean to
no,
cut
go
you
ahead.
off. Our last guest came and he talked about real estate from a notary perspective.
Yeah.
And how that exposes him because he is thinking to do investment long term. So he felt like the notary doing the signings was exposing him to being more educated about real estate. And
Yeah.
so I told him I actually started offering notary services as one of my services under the business umbrella. And that was the reason I started to do it, to become a loan signing agent and get familiar and get around title companies, you know, and get my foot in the door. So I agree with you that there are several avenues to get started in real estate.
Yeah, notary from the notary side of things, you introduce yourself to the contractual
Yeah.
side of things.
Yeah,
I mean, knowing
and understanding
contracts,
that.
understanding
That's
contracts.
important.
That's critically important to the construction industry as well.
Yeah. So when we spoke about generational wealth, with your children, do you expose them to what you're doing now, or do y'all have conversations about real estate? Is that a thing where, hey, you want them to get involved in real estate, or do you just educate them? Like, how do you go about that with your children?
As far as my children, I don't really push them to
Yeah.
get into real estate. You know, I mention it to them, but I mean, I know they're gonna have their own goals and
sure.
their own aspirations. So I try not to push them or try to make them interested in what my interest is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of that football dad's
Yeah.
approach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You may have
Right.
a son and you want your son to play
Yeah.
football because
Like that.
yeah, you always dreamed to make it to the NFL.
Right. Didn't
You
quite
may
work
not
out.
have made it. You know,
For sure.
so I don't push them, but I will introduce them at times. You know, they come and walk properties,
Yeah.
remodels, flips. They'll walk new developments with me once it's sold, and you know they're amazed and they're astonished. But I mean they're young, so they don't really understand it all. But when they get older, I definitely want to pass that down to them.
Yeah.
I definitely think that you know instilling. Entrepreneurship into the next generation is really important.
For sure. And especially, you know, during the pandemic, the entrepreneurship became in our culture a big thing. Like everybody wanted to get involved, which is a good thing, but there are a lot of people that were getting involved and were misinformed. And so platforms like this, I feel like is very important for our community because they can get more and more information. And that way, in their journey of entrepreneurship or whatever it is that they're doing, they have that information and they see. Just like we talk about with our children, we want to expose them to things. So once it creates their appetite of what they want when they get older. And so I feel like this is a platform for our community as well to get this information. And hey, if you thought about real estate, once you hear all these different ways you could get involved and really set your children up, then hopefully, you know, someone will get this information and do something with it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really important. You know, like I said, I've always aspired to do great things.
Yeah.
You know, our parents, you know, they break their backs for us.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, I mean, if you show your parents that, hey, I'm successful, you know, that your investment in me is not in vain. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we should all aspire to do great things in life.
Okay. Well, speaking of that, talking to the aspiring entrepreneur, what is your advice to them?
I would say go for it. Yeah. I mean, go for your dreams. Go for your aspirations. Don't let anything stop you. I mean, when I was growing up, I never thought that I could be where I am today.
Yeah.
You know, I never thought that I would be a partner in a company.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought that I would be a developer. I didn't think that I could do these things, right. But you know, once you get out there and you go head first, so to speak, I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. I mean, when I first started in the construction industry, I was like, man, I don't know if I have the ability to be a project manager.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of felt like, you know what, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
I became a project manager. I became a general manager, and I'm a vice president
Right.
of a company. We do a lot of work with the city of Houston and other municipalities. So you can do it.
Yeah.
It's
It can be
just
done.
it can be done. It's just being motivated to do it.
Yeah, I like to talk about, and I realized I didn't mention that earlier. I like to talk about mindset, and I think that's where it starts. In entrepreneurship, anything you want to do, if it's not starting a business, if you want to lose 30 pounds,
Yeah.
I think it all starts with your mindset. Once you make up your mind, this is what I'm going to do, the only person that can stop you is you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that. You got to make up in your mind that, hey, I'm set out to do this. I'm not gonna let anybody stop me, and I'm just gonna go ahead first.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so before we wrap it up, I want you to talk to them about you, your business, and how you can be reached.
I don't have a Twitter.
Okay.
I mean,
you're not in that all the social
yeah,
media
I'm not
yet?
into all of the social media. But I mean, I can be reached at 832-858-4298. Again, my name is Chris Ford. I'm in the development. I'm in the construction side of things. So, if you want to give me a call, pick my brain, or if you have an investment that you're looking for help with, just reach out to us. Me and Garland, who's is my business partner, we've been doing this for, like I said, 3 years, and we do plan on doing it. I mean, in the future, until God calls us home.
I know that's right. Keep this real estate thing going. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show and having this conversation. Like I say, educating the community on how they could use real estate as a tool to build generational wealth. And hopefully, I'm not for sure if you'll be coming back to the season finale, but hopefully you could, it'll fit your schedule and you could be there and the viewers can hear more from you there. At the season finale in December, we'll bring all the guests back on a panel and go in depth about generational wealth. About real estate being used as a tool for generational wealth, hearing it from several different perspectives. We'll be giving away 75 free tickets to that event. We'll have vendors, food truck, music, family. That's how it's going to go. So I appreciate everybody checking in. Thank you.
Thank you.